Welcome to Changing the Narrative with Red.
And Stace.
And we're here to share our lives and our journey moving to South Africa.
Shit froze already.
It's not frozen.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So we are here in sunny, beautiful, cool Baltimore today. We are making our rounds to say goodbye to our family and our friends. And just been like, we didn't go live last week because we were in transit in the process of traveling and all that kind of stuff. But we just wanted to give you guys some quick updates. And
that's all you got?
What? Can you let me finish?
You forgot. Knock it off.
No, I didn't. I have a whole thing. Okay.
Yeah. Can y'all hear us? If y'all can hear us, let us know, please. Because this is a new location. You know, if there's a delay, please let us know. Because like I said, this is a whole new location. And we're not
so
sure.
You're just gonna keep interrupting me when I wasn't finished?
Go ahead.
I wasn't finished. You're just gonna keep interrupting me?
Go ahead.
Anyway, so we just wanted to give you guys some quick updates, where we're at, what we're doing, all that kind of stuff. And just make sure that you subscribe, hit the like button, share so that you don't miss any of our future updates. That's it. Yeah.
Again, people, please let me know if y'all can hear this, because I'm kind of worried a little bit.
I think it's fine.
Okay.
Nobody has said anything, so I think it's fine.
Okay.
So it looks like we have 6 people in the building right now, 7 now.
Sorry for the tardiness. You know, it's not my fault.
My mom, look, I've been staying at my mom's house for the last week, and I have just been like enjoying myself. My nephews like are so, oh my gosh, I'm gonna miss them so much. I'm gonna miss my sister, miss my mom. Oh man, we just had such a good time, just like relaxing. We went to the pumpkin patch. We went to Sky Zone. It's like a bouncy place where all the kids go. Like, we had so much fun this week. Like, I really, really, really enjoyed myself. And so when I was leaving, even though I'm coming back here in 2 weeks, my mom was like trying to find reasons to keep me. Like, she's like, "Are you hungry? Do you need anything? Like, I will fold your clothes," and like just being so sweet. Like, she definitely didn't want me to leave. So
I need to take my clothes over there so she can fold those too.
It took me a little bit longer to get here. And I didn't want to leave either. So I think it was a little bit of both. So
it's really not your mama's fault.
It's like really her fault, but like but not all her fault. What you been doing this week?
Drinking. Another activity. Hanging out with family. It's a house load of people inside right there. You know, maybe want to stick their head. Okay, we can hit good. Maybe want to stick their head out and say hi, and y'all might can ask them a question or two. Actually, you remember like about 3 weeks ago, I was supposed to have my cousin Tanisha on. She's right there in the room. I might can get her to jump on like from the back or something like that, and y'all can drill her some questions. But yeah, this here podcast was I have a little niece. Her birthday we had a party for her yesterday, and I didn't know that she didn't know that I didn't live here. So I asked her, I said, "You know where I live at, right?" She said, "No." I said, "I live in Texas." She said, "Ooh, that's kind of far." So then I said, "Well, in a month and a half, I'm moving to Africa." She said, "Wow, that's great. You're going to have all kind of cheetahs and lions and all kind of animals at your front door." I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, in school, they teach us, you know, they this all around." So that's what kind of like inspired me to like, she's just going to take my water like that. So
you offered it to me.
So that's what kind of like was like, wow, you know, they still teaching these kids, you know, not the truth. You know what I mean? So it's still sad.
Yeah, and when Stacey told me about that interaction, I was like, you know what? Let me ask my nephews, like, what do they think? So I told them, like, hey, like, do y'all know I'm moving, right? They were like, yeah, you're moving to Africa. Like, yeah, I'm moving to South Africa specifically. And I'm like, what do you think about that? And they primarily they were concerned about what?
See, that's the ghetto stuff. Tanisha, come in. That's the ghetto stuff I be talking about.
But
See that we frozen now, guys. We frozen on our end. Are we frozen on your end?
I don't think we're frozen.
On their end?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Nobody said anything.
Uh-oh. Well, go ahead, continue talking.
So anyway, my nephews were primarily concerned with like, well, how long does it take to get there, and like, how long does it take for you to get back, and how often are you going to come see us? Like those were their primary concerns. And then when I asked them, well, like, what did you learn about Africa in school? And they were like, nothing. I'm like, nothing. They were like, yeah, nothing. I'm like, you didn't learn anything about the continent at all. They're like, no, I have no clue. I'm like, so what do you think it's like? They were like, I don't know, like it's trees and stuff, like a lot of animals. And I'm like, no, baby, no. And then I showed them some videos of like city views and stuff from South Africa, Ghana, Tanzania, and I showed them like some videos of houses and stuff like that, and they were like, "Wow!" Like I didn't know, like I had no idea, and it's just crazy how, like even in this day and age where kids and adults have all this access to information, that those stereotypes still persist. Like I was reading an article earlier today, and it was talking about how like those stereotypes still persist in this age of information, and it's a combination of things, a combination of people not wanting to know, it's a combination of the information not being pushed out to you, because like if you go on YouTube and you just exploring, like they're not going to pop up informational videos about Africa unless it's something that you are interested in or show that you were interested in previously. So I don't know. I think it's partially like a American mentality, which is kind of self-centered and America-centered, that a lot of people just aren't curious about other places, not just Africa, but just other places in general, what's going on around the world. So.
But right quick, I want to let everybody know, again, y'all know we're not home and our internet signal is not as strong as it normally is. And we're using two different devices. So if we don't get to your questions right away, give us a second, because we're using the phone going to the computer. So it might not, like I'm seeing the phone having questions, but it's not on the computer as fast as it's on the phone. So give us a second to get to it, but we'll definitely get to it though. My wife said she did some research. You actually prepared today, huh?
I'm always prepared.
She prepared. I'm thinking we was gonna freestyle it.
Stay ready. You don't have to get ready. Remember that. Write it down. Changing the narrative.
And you're funny.
All day, every day.
Okay. So I think. Oh wow, haven't seen Sibo in a while. How you doing, Sibo?
Hello to you both. Currently waiting on visas for SA. Hope to meet up with both you and others when we arrive. Looking forward to it, JoJo. Looking forward to it. It's no longer stereotypes. It's now all just ignorance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, ignorance on the part of the education system.
Ignorance on part of the people too. Because you're carrying the computer in your hand.
Yeah.
So it's two different ways you can look at that. Do you want to know? Or you just want to go along with the the status quo. But about all these other places that they promote. You know about Mexico. You know about Cancun and all these other places. But again, like we've been saying for the longest, I think it's up to us to flood our social medias with information. Not just me and Red. Me, Red, Assad. Drew. Everybody that's moving over there to flood their social medias. Because if we keep letting, media, white media and, white people just dictating what we know, we ain't gonna never get right.
Yeah.
See, you're not the only one that's smart.
So we have Coldplay in the building. I think some of our regulars are familiar with Coldplay.
Yes.
He says, before we blame Americans, African countries have a responsibility to clean up their reputations. I can't speak for, African people about like their PR machines or their media campaigns or anything like that, but it's really difficult to I would say, like, living in America, the narrative here is that America is the greatest place on earth, that everyone else wants to come here, which to a degree is true, but it's only true because the United States does have a magnificent PR campaign. I mean, a lot of other countries believe that America is the land of milk and honey. And it is a great place to live. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like America is the worst place that you could be, but it's just not serving us anymore. But
yeah,
I wouldn't necessarily say like it's their responsibility to clean up their reputations, because the reputations, the stereotypes that have been put out there have been put out there by the majority, has been put out there by the United States and Europe. Those narratives have been put out there. So it's really hard to I would believe that it's really hard to to resolve that without the involvement of the people that created those stereotypes. You know what I mean?
I think she has a good question right there. I can't pronounce people's names, but you'll get to it in a minute. But yeah, America has trillions of deficit. Blacks and whites getting killed every day. Drug problems. We all had them same problems. So at the end of the day, I think it starts with us. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but Coldplay.
So yeah, Coldplay says other countries have active PR machines. Why can't African countries? Brand SA is lapping up tax rands and showing no results. I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah. Maybe one of you guys can
Bafiti says, Coldplay, how do you propose we do that? Americans don't know about Europe and Asia either. They're only going to learn US geography. We learned global geography, but I'll say that when I was in school, I didn't really learn anything about. We spent time learning about Chinese empires. We spent time learning about the Romans, the Greeks. We spent time learning about Egypt. That's really the only African country that we, extensively had like a lesson on. And the only history that we learned about Africa was to the degree that it allowed America to be the star of the story. That they went over and enslaved Africans. Like, that's where African history started and ended, was when white people showed up and started snatching people. And that was it. Like, that was African history. We didn't talk about all of the thousands of tribes and cultures, and I don't even think we really got into like all of the different countries. Like, Africa has always been taught to us as a monolith, as a continent, as a vessel from which to take. Like, that's really all that we have been taught.
Yeah.
When I was in school, and it seems like now it's even less that they're being taught about Africa. Now, granted, we were talking to like young kids, like 10, 11 and under, but still.
But what we do know is this. Probably about 6 months ago, I think they can't in Texas. I can't speak about the whole United States. But in Texas, they was actually trying to take Black history out the curriculum. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I guess they don't want to hear the truth. So they was just, well, not even, they don't want they don't want to change around what they used to say to what I think what our people are actually coming around to know is the truth now. Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, they was, I guess, again, I can't speak about no one else, no other state, but Texas, I think they actually took it out the curriculum.
What they were trying to do is, like, we have a new curriculum. Well, I don't even want to say it's new. It's not really new, but it's been reintroduced, and it's basically um, teaching about all the ways that Black people have contributed to American society, and how Black people as a whole have been hurt by the American government and systems that they've implemented. And so it kind of explains how race relations have gotten to the point where they're at right now, instead of just saying, oh, racism, as if it was just a byproduct of slavery, when in fact it was a system that was put into place purposely to suppress people, and it was successful. And so they so Texas basically banned that from the curriculum by saying that, the teachers can't teach things that are hurtful to students. And so they're basically saying that white students were hurt by, learning about white privilege and systemic racism. So yeah, that is Texas Texasing.
My man right here, Vincent. Hi, Vincent. I think we all know that. Guys, because it's history, it's his story, not ours. Yeah, I didn't know whether it was happening everywhere, but
Yeah, Sibo says, feels like we are waking up from a deep sleep. Scary because there's so much we are just discovering. Social media has partly assisted to a certain degree. Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yes, Sibo, re social media, they can't get away with much. Yeah, that they got away with before. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think from the first time that we saw a Black person get beat up on live TV was Rodney King.
Rodney King.
That was the first one. And it outraged people. But now that we've gotten into this era of camera phones, I think now people are really seeing, just like with what happened with Emmett Till, when it was on the front cover of every news source and every TV news, like on the front page, seeing it up front what racism looks like. And I think we're having the same type of awakening now with police brutality, that people are ready with the camera phones. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that, if there's a police stop and there's people around, even if it's a totally normal police stop, people will whip out their camera phones and record in order to hold those police officers accountable. Even if it's nothing going on, it's still like a safety measure that like if I'm sitting in the parking lot, if I'm sitting at a gas station and I see that a Black person gets pulled over in the gas station, I'll stop and I'll wait and I'll make sure that they're okay. You know what I'm saying? Because I would want somebody to do that for me. And it's a lot harder for them to lie about what happens when there's witnesses and video footage.
Back you brought up Emmett Till. I think that was like in the mid 50s, 60s maybe. It was accepted then though. And they was getting away with it. And it's not accepted now, but the hell, they still getting away with it. Mm-hmm. My cousin, she's an activist right here in Baltimore, and she posted a video a few minutes ago, about 2 hours ago, and it was
shout her out so people can go look at the video.
Okay, I put in the links, and her name is Ariana, and Ariana, surprised, same name as our daughter, but it was something that was going on downtown Baltimore, and it was some young kids, maybe 24, 23, somewhere in that neighborhood there. And it was one of their friends, and the cops just jumped on him. And there was a bunch of cars around, and it like maybe about 50 kids, and all the 50 kids was just standing in front of the police cars, so the cars won't take them. The police got out the cars and lifted those kids up. One cop was on the feet, the other cops was on the arms, and just dragging all the kids away. This has happened today. I'll post a video later on today or after we finish. Yeah, it happens now every day. And we just see the stuff that they put on the media. What about the stuff that we don't see in the media? You know, Assad stays, you know, posting videos about stuff that's going on in Louisiana that we don't even see because it's not big enough. They don't want us to see it. You know what I mean?
And speaking of which
what?
Assad says, "Where's my Tonys? I need to make some gumbo."
I got you, brother. But I think Assad said, didn't you say Brandy was bringing it for you? She gonna be there next month.
You can never have too much Tonys. You can never have too much Tonys.
You don't even use it that much.
I don't use Tonys, but I use
Tony's too salty.
I use a different seasoning, but you know that those
Assad probably can't cook anyway.
Those Creole seasons be bomb.
Yeah, they the bomb. They the bomb. I got you though, bro. I got you.
But yeah, I definitely got a couple of seasons. Like I got a Mexican seasoned salt that I like to use. What's it called? Adobo. Is it adobo?
Adobo. Yeah. Adobo. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Adobo.
I say I need all I can get. Jojo says we haven't met yet. We're waiting on visas. Working on Mr. D's and DS was a hot mess. Huh? We got the Tonys too.
Jojo, where you from? But got here. Coldplay sounds complex. It's hard, man. It's hard being black here because, like, I mean, I think we all might have said it before. You know, when we see the cops, man, anxiety kicks right then and there because you just never know, man. We might not go back home. You know, if we do go back home, we might not go back home the same way we left. You know, Red told you the story when she got pulled over and they were just parked in the wrong place for a few minutes, and she said she freaked out.
I was like trembling. I had my nephews in the car. Like I was so scared. But I mean, I think they want us to be afraid though. You know, I think that like the reason why we're going through all this now with trying to keep education about systemic racism and white privilege, trying to make it seem like, you know, the police system was put in place to keep us safe. You know, like all of the lies that are being told and the half truths is really just to keep the power where it is right now, trying to keep the narrative the same. And I mean, I'm just tired of it. I think we're all tired of it.
But my question is though, why the black cops don't step up? You know, because it seems like the black cops.
That's not 100% true. There are a lot of black police officers that do speak out. Like there's one guy that I follow. I can't remember his name, but I'll find the name and I'll put it in the comments. And he actually quit the police force because of all of the things that he was seeing and realizing that there was nothing that he could do inside the police department, or he felt like there was nothing he could do inside the police department. So instead, he decided to leave the police department and educate people on their rights, how to deal with police officers, and educate people on the laws in their states. To make sure that people are protecting themselves. There's a whole system of auditors that basically do things that will invoke a police response, even though they're not doing anything illegal. They'll invoke a police response and then audit and make sure that police officers are handling those situations correctly. So I mean, there's a whole movement right now to try to, you know, get police officers to be held accountable for their actions. So slow moving, but hopefully we'll get some results.
I have a question for Assad. Assad, jump on right quick, please, brother. I have a question for you. Being that you got kids now that's in school in SA, I have a question for you, man. Because I mean, what are the kids being taught in Africa about United States at their age? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because we know they're not because our kids are younger than yours, but the kids that Red was just talking about, her niece and nephew, they match along. Well, one of them match along with your kids. You know, and it'd be kind of interesting to see, you know, what they being taught there compared to what they're being taught here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's probably like a good topic too.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So yeah, if you don't mind, Assad, jump on right quick, man. Or anybody else that got kids. It might be, yeah, anybody else got kids that wouldn't mind letting us know what they're being taught compared to what we're being taught.
So you asked JoJo earlier where
Philly.
they were from Philly.
We right up the street, man. We in Baltimore.
And let's see. So Kitchen Clothes podcast says state troopers were created in South Carolina to catch free slaves without people work. And if you had people work and read to the cop, you'll get arrested. But yeah, the police system in the United States was basically built off of was built to monitor and catch and return slaves. And those same leaders from the police, you know, from that policing back then, like all of that just, yeah, we can't hear you.
We can't hear you, brother.
Like all of that just continued on into the police force today. Like it was started off as a racist organization, and it still continues to be that to this day. But we have Assad on. Thank you for joining.
Peace, family. Thank you guys so much for inviting me on. You know, I'm glad I caught the live.
Turn your volume up, bro.
He can't turn his volume up.
You want me to talk louder?
Assad, what are your kids being taught, man?
About what?
About U.S. history.
Well,
I mean, I know it's kind of early.
Yeah. So because of the type of school that they go to a French school, right? So, I mean, I found it wonderful that my son came home maybe about 2 weeks ago, and they had an entire chapter in their history book on Muslims and Islam, because that's definitely something that they don't teach in the United States. But as it relates to U.S. history, I'm not sure if they're getting a lot of U.S. history. They get a lot of global world history, of course, because it's a French school. It's going to be Eurocentric. But I think the French, and because we're in South Africa, have the school itself has made an effort to make sure it incorporates like these African stories and other people in the diaspora, because, you know, France had Senegal and what's the other one in West Africa? Mali, a whole bunch of West African countries, as well as like places like Martinique or whatever have you, with that that African influence. So, but I'll say this: it is not whether it is African history or American history or whatever have you, or Black American history. That responsibility lies at home. So when we're in the car, we're talking about Malcolm. You know, we're talking about Elijah Muhammad, or we're talking about Adam Clayton Powell, and our Black American history, and the conversations that my wife and I have, they are privy to. So even if they're sitting, sometimes you think they're not listening, then all of a sudden the little baby Aiden to come from the background and say something profound as it relates to the conversation my wife and I are having. So I think it is the parents' responsibilities to keep that to keep their history, and to put history in the context of the individual people group. So as Black Americans, I have to put history in the context of our experiences as Black Americans, not only as Americans, but as people as a part of this global family or whatever have you, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you think that and I've heard this from some other people. Do you think that like sharing Black American history with our kids at a young age, do you think that affects their psyche to have them thinking that they are inferior or that they are that there's nothing that they can do about the current situation? Like, do they get like a hopeless? Do you think they get like a hopeless feeling or feel inferior or anything like that?
I think it depends on how you present the information. If you start our history as slavery, you've already started off wrong, right? You have to go back to who we were when we were on the continent, and then you have to put slavery into perspective. The people that enslaved us were the ones who were the weak ones. Those are the ones who were the evil ones. Those are the ones who committed crimes against humanity, right? So you have to make sure it's not framed as if these people were heroes or conquerors. We have to understand that colonization and enslavement is a crime against humanity. As Muslims, we believe in Allah. We have to say that these people were enemies of Allah, enemies of the good people, enemies of Allah's people, God's people. So and then we look at the accomplishments, right? When we talk about Black American history, we can't just talk about slavery and Jim Crow. We look at the White House and say it was, Benjamin Banneker who Benjamin Banneker who surveyed the land for Washington D.C. We look at the White House and say it was enslaved Africans who built the White House, or it was Garrett Morrison who created the what we call here in South Africa the robot, what we call in the United States the stoplight, right? It was Dr. Daniel Hell Williams who conducted the first open heart surgery. It was Dr. Charles Drew who separated the plasma for blood that saves lives in order to give people blood transfusions, right? So we need to know the accomplishments of Black people. And once we embrace our accomplishments, then that inferiority stuff goes out the window. As it relates to cultural stuff, the music that everyone listens to, country music comes from the Delta Mississippi blues, right? So that's music that we created. Rock and roll comes from soul music or race music, as they called it. Little Richard being the architect of this, right? So we are, I had this conversation with a sister today, who's now living in Johannesburg, but she's from New Jersey, but she came to South Africa from Atlanta, and she said she was watching some YouTube people, and a brother was married to a sister from the continent, and she said, so it's an African American brother married to a person from the continent. I don't remember what country they were from, but that sister from the continent said, Black Americans don't have culture. And the brother agreed. And I said, man, is he out of his mind? Like, everything that you love about America is because of Black people. Everything that you love, the wealth of America, we created it. You see what I'm saying? It was our 400 years of free labor and servitude that created the wealth of America. You like our music? Don't nobody eat German food in America. All the good food comes from Black people. All the good music comes from Black people. All the styles. We took those Italian designers and whatnot, and we gave it style. We made it hip, right? So so like the accomplishments and the contributions to what American society is, without Black Americans, America looks vastly different, probably a developing country because it wouldn't have had the labor in order to amass the type of wealth that it did. It wouldn't have had the culture. It wouldn't have had some of the beautiful stories that we have told, the music and the art that we have created. Yeah. So because our culture is intertwined with American culture, sometimes it's hard to really make those distinctions and those definite lines of Black American culture. But everything that you love about Black America, white America or America in general, Black people have contributed to it.
Amen.
Amen.
Love it.
Thank you.
We got quite a few questions in the chat.
But I got one more thing to say first. I have a question for Assad. I know you do your
man. I want Tony.
I got you. We'll talk about it. I got you. But I got one more question for you though. It's a request.
Mhm.
I know you do your meetups typically the first week of every month.
Uh-huh.
In December, can you do it on the 10th?
Facts. I can do it on the
So we
10th. Ain't
can
no problem.
be there.
Got you. Got you. And then I got a request to you so that we could do the that barbecue versus bride. Somebody said don't call it a versus. They say call it an expo, right? To
Expo.
expose people to the bride, expose people to the barbecue. So maybe we'll do it like that. And maybe we'll do that later on in January or something. I know you guys are going to be traveling around, but I assume that you're going to be in SA at least for a little while. So maybe
Yeah,
we'll do it in January.
I bet. But so there
Right.
you go, fellas, ladies. We gonna be there December 10th.
All
Let's try to
right.
figure out where it's gonna be at, and we definitely gonna pop up.
Facts, 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 facts. So you said they had questions for me, or you
But
know
that
I
was
could
it.
jump on.
That's what the question was.
Oh, okay, cool, cool. Well,
That's what the
I'll
request was.
I'll let y'all get back to y'all show,
All right,
and
appreciate you, brother.
Thank you so
always a pleasure.
much.
And I
All
look
right.
forward to seeing y'all soon.
All right. See you.
All right.
All right. Let's see.
A lot was said just now.
Yeah. Kazia Love Supreme is a blogger from US and now moved to SA. She went to a new restaurant with Louisiana cuisine in Cape Town. I thought of you guys as you have the same ambitions. Yeah. Well, was it good? That's the question I have. Was it good? Jojo, love the channel, guys. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
We got 40 people in the house. Please subscribe, like, share.
Yeah. Great question.
Tanisha,
Thank
come
you,
out. Tanisha, come outside.
Let's see. Unapologetic Nomads did interviews with some young SA, and they said they didn't know much other than the celebrities in the US. I mean, that's all. That's all that the US wants you to know.
My brother Black Shield. What's up, bro?
Hey. Let's see. I love Dr. Assad's take on teaching about slavery.
Yes.
Yes.
Intelligent brother.
Yeah, and I'm not just teaching about slavery, but just like the history, American history, and how important Black people were to, founding America. We should also be careful not to radicalize kids. We also want to live in a diverse and united world. I mean, I don't think teaching kids about their shared history and the history of this country is radicalizing them. I think that it teaches kids, about the past and being mindful of things that can disrupt our progress, things that, people may not feel responsible for, but it's really important to have community and understand like the direction that we want to go as a community, um, and being focused on supporting each other as Black people in business and family, and all that kind of stuff, because those are the things that are going to make us stronger and successful. So I don't think it's necessarily about radicalizing them. It's more about like, here's your history. Here's all the things that we've been through and accomplished and how we help make this country great, and that, we belong here. And if you want to be here, this is the path that was laid out for you. And now it's your turn to pick it up, and carry it on to the next phase.
So I have a question then. To piggyback on what was just said from Assad, and to piggyback on what you just said, when these young kids learn Black history, do you think by learning Black history they might start disliking whites? I mean, because we all know what happened. So do you think that's like a way for them to just like, dislike white people?
I don't think the goal is necessarily to not like white people. I think the goal is to love ourselves and to at all times focus on our progress and our place. in the economy.
I mean, I understand that part.
I don't think it's the goal.
No, I don't think it's a goal either. But I'm just saying,
like white people.
while they're watching these slave movies, while they're watching the media, while they're watching everything that happened in those times, you can definitely develop an attitude. I mean, how many times have we watched videos of things that happen in the media, one of our brothers or sisters getting beat up, and we caught an attitude and said, you know, F them people. You know, we've said that. All of us have said that before.
I mean, I think statements like that have context. You know what I'm saying? Because when you say when you make statements like that, you're not talking about every single person that fits that description.
Right.
Like you're talking about people who encroach on other people's life and liberty and happiness for no other reason than they think that they are better and they should be able to. You know what I'm saying? It's a specific set of people that we're talking about. And I think that when Black people are having those conversations, that we understand that internally. And that's the context of statements that are like that. And somebody who is not in the community having that overhearing that conversation may take it a certain way, but it wasn't meant for you. It wasn't a conversation that was meant to be had with you or for you to be a part of. So I don't necessarily think it breeds hatred, but I think it does open up the conversation to a certain type of people who don't care about other people's rights and liberties and being able to be free in this country and do exactly as they do. Like they don't think that it's right, and they don't think it's fair that the power dynamic in the United States is changing. So I say this all the time: only a hit dog will holler. So if you know we ain't talking about you, you won't be offended. So, did you have anything?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm waiting for Tanisha. Tanisha, Tanisha, get on.
I'm sure she heard you the first time and the third time.
She's special
though. FBA, foundational Black Americans. I mean, I like that term better than enslaved, Americans. I like that. Yeah, we came up with all the good music.
All the good music.
Whether
you like the substance or not. I mean, the jam is the jam.
Still copying Black Americans today. Yes, trying to get the skin tone, trying to get the body, the lips, the style, all of that. They're trying to accessorize with Blackness, but not really caring about
y'all
people.
Gotta excuse all the noise around us. We outside. Rodney's F place.
Hey, Khalees, what's up?
Khalees,
Thanks for joining.
Man?
I'm great, my big brother. Just been busy. Hope you have a safe trip.
We'll talk on WhatsApp, Black Shield.
I don't think it's appropriate to say that people don't have culture if we've what?
To think or say
that people don't have culture if we've never lived amongst them. We have different views on culture, so respect has to be exercised. Yes, I agree.
100%.
Thank you. As it relates to African American history, we're the only people who had to write ourselves back into history. We were erased. Our stories were silenced. Teaching our children our history is vital. Yes.
Agree.
I agree. Tanisha says she's not coming because she's not dressed for TV, which I understand. My fear, though, is that we will be stuck on victimhood mode for long and forget to work towards uniting and begin to make things happen for us. No, I don't believe that. And I think that understanding the forces that are against you prepares you to exert more force. And I don't mean like violence. I just mean in your intentions and your actions and in the way that you live your life. I don't necessarily believe that it creates victimhood. I mean, I think there's always people in any group that are not willing to take any responsibility for their success or failure. And those people will always exist, whether it's in a system of racism, capitalism, socialism. There will always people who blame their circumstances on everything else around them. And while, you know, we do have these additional external mental, physical, legal pressures on us, it doesn't mean that you don't have any power or responsibility for your future. So I don't think that it breeds victimhood. I think that it is a story with a beginning, but no end yet. You know what I'm saying? So telling the story up to this point is not creating victimhood. It's telling you like this is where we've been. This is the story thus far. And now you get to carry it on. Like, what's next? Y'all get to decide. You have anything to say on that?
No, that's good.
I'm going to start the process for getting my residency visa in SA. I'm in New Jersey. Is the visa process lengthy?
Asal would be better to answer that question. But what we know is this: months ago, it was extremely lengthy. You know, I think they came out with something maybe 3 months ago saying that they was going to try to get it within 6 weeks. But from what I'm hearing, that is still longer than 6 weeks. But it can be, depending on what you want to be doing, Rodney, you know, you might can wait on the visa, depending on what you're going to be doing. Because we don't have hours. You know, we're going to deal with that later. But you can, it's just things you can also do.
Beverly says it will make them dislike others. I totally disagree.
What's dislike? What?
I think like teaching about black. I guess. I guess she's talking about like teaching them about Black history and stuff like that. But
I still have that. Like, I mean, if Black kids keep saying that white people back in the days was beating up on their great grandfathers and grandfathers, it can leave a distaste in their mouth. I don't think that should be debated because it can, because it leaves a taste in our mouth now when we see it happen. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see how we can't for an impressionable 10-year-old.
But I mean, that goes back to Assad's point that it depends on how you tell the story. No, it's not even just how you word it. It's like how, like, what are your intentions in telling the story? What are your intentions? Are your intentions you can shape any story to fit whatever narrative you want. So if you want to impress on your children not to like other races, then you can tell the story in a way that will make them not like other races.
No, I'm not saying as far as tell the story.
No. I'm just saying, like, as far as dislike, like she's saying that telling this history will make them dislike others. But what I'm saying is, if you tell the story with the intention only to share our history and our power, then that's the message that will come across. You know what I'm saying?
I think you also missing what I'm saying. I'm not saying as far as us telling the story. Kids got phones, kids got YouTube. So once you type in something about Black and white or history, what's gonna happen is after they see that video, another video gonna pop up about the exact same thing, and it's gonna be a snowball effect, and all they're gonna start seeing is back in the days, white people beating up on Black people. So it's not about
current days.
And in current, so it has nothing to do with us telling the story. You know what I'm saying? It's that what they're seeing. And they're seeing footage from, you know, millions of views and in the comments, reading the comments. That's all I was saying.
But I take that when you dislike somebody, that is a personal thing. You know what I'm saying? You can't dislike someone that you have never met. You understand what I'm saying? That is a very personal thing. I feel like there may be anger towards the system that allows people who commit crimes against people that look like you, and there's no justice. There is anger there. You know, there is probably even a touch of jealousy that we can't move around the world, that, you know, in the country that we help create in the same way that everybody else does. I think that there is some anger there, but I don't think it necessarily means that it's gonna cause children to go out and be mean to their classmates because they're white. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe that is the case. And then what is the alternative? Not to talk about our history?
No, not at all.
That's not an
at all.
option either.
But I was just talking about, a 10-year-old with, an impressionable kid.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and I mean, your kids, and I feel like those conversations need to happen, and you add to the conversation as it becomes age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? With context,
mm-hmm.
Because that is extremely important whenever you're telling any type of story.
I know even our kids, they had issues when that happened with Floyd. When it happened with Floyd, I mean, I remember one of the kids was like, "Yo, F white people," and I remember that. But I understand that was emotional because that was going on right then and there, and everything was happening in their face. I understand that, and I know.
We already talked about that statement,
and itself. I know they didn't mean it, But I'm just saying that it happens.
But I mean, we already talked about in context what that statement means.
It was emotional. Yeah.
So, the Kitchen Closed podcast says we need to teach our kids about sovereignty. Once they know what sovereignty is, they figure out that we are not being treated right. I guess I need you to explain like what you mean by sovereignty in your comment. But I do feel like we don't have. I feel like a lot of people feel like they don't have as much freedom as other people in this country. I feel like I know that there's certain things that I teach my kids, like when you go to the store, like if they were going to the gas station or something, get candy or whatever, always get a bag, always get a receipt. Don't take a book bag into a store. Like certain things that you should be able to do, but if I'm not with my kids, I don't want them to be in a situation where somebody might follow them around the store because they're already young in the store, and then on top of that they have a book bag. It just gives them a reason to be targeted. So it's just like not being able to live freely and fully, is, I think it affects our psyche. But.
So how does that look when their white friend go in that same store with a book bag,
mm-hmm.
and then we telling our kids don't go in the store with a book bag?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that and that's what I was trying to get to when I was saying what I was saying.
Yeah,
it's definitely double standards.
Yeah, my brother, when he was, I want to say he was probably about 13. I want to say he was like 13 or 14. Him and his friend who was I think he might have been Hispanic, but he could pass for a white kid. They were going to the store. They went to Joann Fabrics, because back in the day, Joann Fabrics used to have the good candy and lollipops and stuff like that. So he went in there and they bought some candy. And when they were walking back, they saw this white woman sitting outside of one of the restaurants in the shopping center. And she was just looking at them really funny and looked scared or something. And he didn't think anything of it, kept walking. By the time he got into our apartment complex, there was like 5 police cars surrounding him. And they let his friend go because the woman that he saw said that my brother had stolen her purse. And they searched him. At first, they said that the things from her purse were littered around his feet. Mind you, I got there probably like within 5-10 minutes after they stopped him, because my best friend lived right in the same street where it was happening. And she called me and told me what was going on. And I was up there within minutes. And they had him sitting on the curb at that point, cuffed, and there was nothing on the ground. Nothing on the ground at that point. They tried to say in the police report that he had the stuff littered around. They went through all the trash cans. They searched everywhere from, the shopping center all the way up into the apartment complex. They found nothing, but they still arrested him, booked him, and said that they were going to press charges. But all of a sudden, when we had all these eyewitness accounts that none of the stuff that they said in the police report was true, all of a sudden the charges just disappeared. Like, we didn't get a letter saying that they were dropped, nothing. They just called to check in about what was going on with this case, and they were like, we don't see anything in the system at all. Now, if he had been alone, who knows what would have happened? Who knows? You know, and that's, you know, I think every single Black person in this country has a story like that of somebody extremely close to you or themselves who have been through something like that. Like, oh my gosh, if this person didn't whip out a camera, if I didn't have a receipt that I was somewhere else and not robbing this store, or if the case didn't fall apart because one piece of evidence came out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying? Like, that they could have ended up in jail or in police custody for no reason. Like, that's just is something that we deal with daily. So, you have anything that you want to add? I feel like I've been talking a lot this episode.
We're gonna go through these questions because we traveling tomorrow. We going to the next destination. Sunday's podcast. The next Sunday podcast is going to be amazing.
Are we going to tell them who's probably going to be on there?
No. We're going to say. Okay. So we're going to go through the questions. We're going to get up out of here. We got some shrimp and some fish frying inside the house. You know, so.
You know your girl likes to eat.
Yeah, you do. So go ahead.
Anyway. Let's see. Black Shield says, if I can get my mouse to work. Black Shield says it is very important to our kids. They need to know where we come from and what we went through as Black people. So absolutely. True. There were Black people here before any slave ships came to so-called Americas. Absolutely. There is physical evidence of that. Thank you, King of Kings.
What you got here?
The very same people that do not want to be reminded that they did you dirty, they still continue to want to eliminate you. See. Hope everything goes well with your visa. Okay.
Oh, wow. We got a lot of them in here. You were just doing a whole bunch of talking, right?
I know. That's what I said. Take lessons from Germany. They put their troll past in your face, and what you do with that information is up to you. Same with SA. Okay. It's not radicalizing. It's important for kids to learn, but don't overshare. I knew a lot. My dad was grooming me. That was not good. Thanks, Black Shield. I'm hopeful that the process goes well.
Reach out to us, Rodney. We'll help us.
Retirement visa.
Rodney, reach out. We'll help as much as we can. Share the information that we got.
See. If the U.S. government pays reparations, are y'all going to go back to invest in solar? By the way, invest in solar panels or generators. That definitely makes sense. I don't think we need to come back to get our reparations. Like,
it's not going to happen, though.
That is literally never going to happen.
It's never going to happen. But the invest in the solar panels generators. The whole thing with that is it's really, really expensive to import. You know, we would love to do something like that. If you can tell us the way we can import for the low.
Aside says they can direct deposit my money. Righto. Sovereignty is basically what Black Wall Street was. They had all hospital. Yes, I totally agree with that. I mean, I feel like they should just give us like Atlanta and Louisiana, just let us have it and move on with their lives. And I think we would do fine.
We need more than just Atlanta.
Not Atlanta, I mean Georgia. Georgia and Louisiana.
You're still gonna need more than that.
Georgia and Louisiana. I mean, I think we can make it work.
Right.
The sense of not having my skin color matter while shopping, walking about, etc. in South Africa was an awesome experience for me. We are native to Africa, not North America. Yeah, that was definitely very freeing.
Very
much. Ronnie S. plays Simon Louise Wilco's movie. Okay. Yeah. We hope so. Definitely. Was late to this. We'll sit out the last part and then start watching the whole thingy majigs. You got this. Thank you. Let's see. I've talked to my wife that I miss South Africa because I cannot look over my shoulder and be scared of police more than criminals.
Wow, that's a strong
Yeah.
statement there.
Yeah. Like honestly, if I see, I'm more scared to see a police car roll up on me than, you know, somebody I don't know, like say, hey, I have a question. Like if a police officer stops me and says, hey, I need to talk to you, I'd be like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You know, like, but yeah, that's true. I'm definitely more afraid of police officers than a stranger.
For me, I think it depends on where I'm at. I mean,
No, because
like Louisiana and Baltimore,
listen,
these little niggas around here are ridiculous.
But wait, there's one thing that you're not thinking about. The fact that if somebody commits a crime against you, they are very likely to be punished. If you know, if you know, you find who the person is and get them arrested and stuff, they're very likely to face punishment. Whereas a police officer can imprison, kill, maim with impunity. That is the difference.
That's the truth.
There's no justice. There's no incentive for them not to do it because all they have to do is say, I was justified. And then your life is snuffed out with no justice whatsoever.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, though, you know, Assad says it all the time, and I can say it too. You know, the two places that we're from, you know, he's from Louisiana. I'm not from Baltimore, but I spent quite a few years here, 10+ years here. And these little niggas around here are ridiculous.
Well, we're demonetized now.
Nigglets?
Stop saying it. This was a good video. Now you got it demonetized.
So
I think this was a good closing point. Like this was really appreciate you guys' input, and it was a really good show. I thought it was going to be kind of short.
Short as you?
Short as my temper. Anyway, thank you guys, as usual, so much for following us, sharing us, supporting us. Please continue to do so. We will be here next week. I'm not sure what time.
Same time.
So pretty close. It'll be between 12 and.
We'll be together, so you can't be late because we'll be together.
I can be late to anything. Trust me.
But it's gonna be great next week, though. Sunday's gonna be great.
Yeah. I just want you to remember this, because I told you this before. I was dead serious.
What?
I want to be late to my own funeral. Like I want you to tell people a certain time.
See y'all later, y'all.
But then like bring my body in like 20 minutes later. I want to just keep that same momentum going all the way to the grave.
I mean, you like being in the grocery store for like an hour or two and only grabbing one thing. So how about I just leave you in the grocery store?
What?
See y'all later. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see y'all Sunday. Sunday's gonna be amazing. Trust me.
All right. Thanks, fam.